This is the story of how our minds are connected. And I'm not going to go into like a kind of mystical woo-woo territory about like, ESP and all that sort of thing. Other speakers can talk about that, that's totally fine. But instead I'm going to talk about very concretely how all of our thoughts and minds are connected. And I'm going to do it through the story of this instrument, the piano. Now, anybody who's seen somebody who's really great play the piano, you just know that this is a magical thing, right? Basically, people can create, joy. They can express pain. They can express so much complexity and emotion. They can do it with force. They can do it with subtlety. This instrument is a powerful, powerful instrument. And the people that play piano, whether they're concert pianists or professional musicians or musicians of any stripe, if you were to kind of scan their brains and kind of see what's going on, you'd actually see a good chunk of their brains when they're doing this stuff is being dedicated to how to play the piano. So there's structures that are related to the movement of the fingers across the keys. There's structures that are related to music theory and how to relate that to what the piano is capable of doing, of the motion of the pedal, and so on and so forth. But one thing that you may not have thought of, so of course, if you do this sort of thing, if you play the piano, you will have these structures in your brain, and all the people that play the piano have, these kind of parallel structures in the brain that allow them to play the piano, of course. But a thing that you may not have thought about this process is that before the year 1700, this was a set of patterns of the brain that was just not possible. Because in the year 1700, the piano was invented. Right? Literally, this type of beauty was not possible until that year 1700. And it took a bunch of centuries after that for people to develop all the different styles of piano playing for us to achieve the level of beauty that we have arrived at with the piano. Now, what does this mean for us? Well, number one, it means that there's a set of people that invented it, and their patterns of thoughts propagated forward and opened up the bound for many other people to go play around with this instrument. And that propagated forward for many other people to develop interesting styles and be able to teach other folks that then studied piano. And really, this piece of work allowed us to open up entirely new vistas of human experience and possibility. And those thoughts were directly connected in a chain of possibility. Now, in the larger scope, I call this phenomenon the pallet of being. Because what happens is every single one of us is born into a world where particular things are possible, right? So you might be born into a world where it's possible to become a pianist or a musician. It's possible to become a computer scientist. It's possible to become a dancer. It's possible to become all these things. There's colors in the palette that you can go dabble in and paint from and in order to create the masterpiece that is your life. Now, the thing beyond that, which I think is way more profound, is that the colors don't stay stable. The way that you live your life, you can add colors, right? The people that got together and took their mechanical engineering prowess and invented the piano, they added a color. It meant that every bit of civilization afterwards now has a new color to work with. Outside of people that have invented things, just sometimes your way of being adds a new color, right? Kind of an aside, it's like I remember when Lady Gaga was coming up, I was like, that's so Madonna, what she's doing, right? And it's because like Madonna came in here and she like just was a particular way. And then a generation later, like somebody could look at that and it's like, I like that. And she's not, exact copy of, nobody will ever be. But she decided to use some of those colors that did not exist before in order to go paint with and do something phenomenal. And this is actually the opportunity of all of our lives to be able to not only deeply embrace and play with all the colors in the palette of being, but through what we create in this life, through our relationships and through what, just our basic way of being, to add colors to this so that future generations are able to invent, live, be in a different way with each other.